This is Channel 12 News, the 6 o'clock report with Eleanor Schano-White.
Good evening, everyone. Well, South Florida continues in the grip of a bitter cold wave that sent temperatures plummeting to all-time record lows this morning. Citrus growers and vegetable farmers spent the night in their fields burning fires in an effort to save their tender crops. Well, tonight, the increased demand for electricity has forced many commercial users to cut back on usage. Hotels and restaurants have implemented emergency plans anticipating a possible brownout this evening. We have 3 special reports on the frigid weather. First, we hear from Stephanie Stahl.
35,000 residents in Palm Beach County have at some point been without power since 6 o'clock last night. Florida Power and Light officials say that during extreme cold weather, increased use of heaters causes power overloads. To prevent the entire system from going down, FP&L systematically blacks out certain areas during peak hours for 15 to 30 minutes.
The demand for electricity is really beyond what we're able to generate at this time, and we're doing a number of things. One, we've asked a number of our large industrial customers who are on a special rate to cut back on their load, and they did this last evening and again this morning. We're also doing what we call rotating of feeders. We will pick a certain area and we'll actually open a break in the substation for a period of 15 to 30 minutes and actually probably affect about 3,000 customers and then put them back in and move to another area. This way we're able to keep the actual amount being used in line with what we're able to generate.
Our area has also experienced brownouts, short periods when lights dim and appliances don't operate at full power. That's because insufficient voltage is produced when people turn up the heat, causing a low supply of energy. In fact, Channel 12 was unable to go on the air this morning because of a brownout at our transmitter. There are also reports of improperly working elevators because of the shortage. And what can customers do? FP&L officials say keep your thermostat at 68 or below during peak hours. You should also avoid excessive use of electrical appliances. Officials warn, however, even if you do conserve, you may be blacked out, since the power outages are determined as generating capacity dictates. The forecast calls for another freezing night, and power officials say from now until about 8, they will be blacking out areas and expect another 35,000 residents will be without power sometime tonight or tomorrow morning. The severe cold weather is also causing problems for the county's largest industry, agriculture. Jim Allen spent the night with some area farmers and has this report on attempts to save their crops.
It was a sleepless night for farmers in South Florida. Predictions of sub-freezing temperatures had many farmers putting as much of their produce as possible in storage to protect it from the weather. Not since 1977, when President Carter declared the state a disaster area, have farmers here taken such extreme precautions. And many farmers are still repaying loans financed since that time. New record lows are being set statewide. The National Weather Service at the Palm Beach International Airport is reporting 36 degrees, which beats the record low for the date by 1 degree set in 1962. But experts say it shouldn't last too long.
Well, Jim, we still have a freeze and frost warning again for tonight. The lows should be in the low 30s along the coast to the upper 20s inland. I think it'll be a little warmer during the day. Today the high should be near 60 and the high on Wednesday in the middle 60s. I think just a gradual warming trend beginning on Wednesday, but still with below normal temperatures.
Of course, it's much colder in open areas like this 200 acres of farmland. At 27 degrees, it's about as cold as it's gonna get. From what you can determine, how much damage have your crops sustained?
I'd say from 5 to 10% right now. The longer the 27 the temperature lasts, the more damage you're going to receive, possibly another 10 to 15% at that point. But right now we have about a 10%, 5 to 10.
And in cost, how much would this determine?
Well, if you had as much as 5%, 50,000 to 100,000 loss.
The sun's rising now, and farmers in South Florida will be spending the day assessing damages and trying to do what they can to prepare for the next 24 hours. Jim Allen, Channel 12 News.
Now is the best time in the whole wide world to buy yourself a tomato or a whole bunch of them, because of last night's freeze, you know the prices have to go up. In fact, on all vegetables, like lettuce grown here in Florida, you know that the price is going to show up in your grocery bill, so why not buy it right now? On the other hand, maybe now isn't a good time to buy it, because we don't know if the prices will go up, according to a produce manager at a local grocery store.
John, right now the vegetables are stable. The only thing that I see on the rise is Florida lettuce.
How come?
It could be due to a shortage. Could be the cold weather that we had at nights.
The cold weather, what does it affect most?
I would say right now that fresh vegetables would be affected by this cold front. Lettuce, peppers, anything grown in the local area here.
So they're actually affected faster than the fruit would be affected then.
Yeah, it will take a little longer for the fruits to show up.
If we're going to see a price rise, when are we going to see it?
I would say it would be the 1st of February before we would know.
Actually, if the cold weather doesn't make you shiver, the prices could make you quiver. That's because they're going to get us one way or the other. The prices could actually go down, according to one store manager, because of adverse publicity. A lot of people tend to shy away from vegetable counters, afraid that they'll buy some fruit that's been damaged because of the freeze. However, if they don't get you there, they could get you over here at the frozen food section. That's because the bulk of Florida's crop turns into orange concentrate, and these prices could be affected for months ahead. So, we'll see what happens. John Matthews, Channel 12 News at Miller Super Value in West Palm Beach.
So that's the situation now. Patty Sherman is here with us with the current picture and maybe, hopefully, a little later on explanation for this very weird weather pattern.
That's right. Right now, just at about sunset, temperatures are dropping very rapidly. They'll slow up after midnight, but we expect as bad a night tonight as we had last night. Temperatures will be slightly warmer, but it's still going to be very damaging for our crops. Let's take a look at our current temperature, which right now is 58 degrees, and as I said, falling rapidly. Last night's low was a record, 32 degrees, breaking the old record of 37 set in 1962, and today's high, which felt pretty good when we finally reached it, was 61, but it didn't reach that level for very long. Tonight, this is what we can expect. Clear weather, winds will be light and variable. Now, the temperatures in the interior sections for the farmers, 25 to 30. It will be below freezing for around 6 hours tonight for agricultural interests. Coastal areas, temperatures in the upper 30s, warmer than yesterday. Freeze and frost is expected in the inland areas, and extensive frost, unusually extensive frost, is likely in the farming areas. Now, tonight should be the very last critical night, Eleanor, for the farmers. Temperatures will be slowly warming for about a day or two, and then another cold front's going to be, not a cold front, but another spell of cold air will be coming through, and that will reinforce the cold. Not as bad as these record levels, but we do expect to have more.
Okay, I got a phone call just a little while ago from a visitor who said, how about an explanation? Let's face it, these are the subtropics. What's happening? So what's happening, Patty?
These were the subtropics, it feels like. The jet stream is much farther south than normal, and that's bringing the cold temperatures down. The cold fronts are coming out of the northern plains, moving eastward, but the cold air is circulating southward and is enabled to reach our area. Now, we expect that to shift for a couple of days, but right now the trend looks like that will continue.
I had heard that the configuration in the jet stream is just about the same as it was in 1977, and you remember what happened then.
Snow.
Please, no snow, please, Patty. Patty will be back a little later in this newscast with a more detailed forecast. 2 Washington watchdogs visit the Palm Beaches, and we'll hear from them right after this.
First Federal of Make My Call.
2 of the most widely read columnists in America are in Palm Beach tonight following their joint address before the Society of 4 Arts. Stan Zimmerman intercepted Jack Anderson and William F. Buckley at the airport to ask about politics and Iran.
What do you feel will be Ronald Reagan's biggest priority now that he has the Senate as well as the presidency in Republican hands?
I think he's going to try to concentrate on the economy on the grounds that although our foreign policy is a wreck, there's no way in which you can restore the stability of our foreign policy without having stability at home.
I think part of our problem has been that the economy's been mismanaged. In that respect, I would think Ronald Reagan couldn't possibly do worse than Jimmy Carter, whom he'll succeed.
The French newspaper Le Monde reporting this morning agreement has been reached between Iran and the United States concerning the release of the hostages. Do you feel that once the hostages are released, relations with Iran should rapidly improve?
I'm not even sure that I believe the report. There are militant factions who would try to prevent an agreement, militant factions that would like to sabotage the release of the hostages and provoke a confrontation with the United States.
under the circumstances, it's impossible to predict how a semi-rational country can deal with a totally irrational dictator. Now, I'd be very interested to see the terms. I would like to know, for instance, whether there's going to be compensation to those hostages for having been illegally detained for over a year.
Stan Zimmerman, Channel 12 News, Palm Beach International Airport.
The county use plan says no new development should be allowed if it overloads local roads. But how much traffic is too much? That question was tackled by a citizens task force today. It's charged with setting standards to put the land use plan into effect. Developers say tough standards would stop many future housing projects in Palm Beach County. The technical recommendations of the task force will be presented to the County Commission in a workshop session Thursday morning. Indecision surrounding the management of the Boca Raton Airport is finally clearing up with the organization of an Airport Advisory Committee. Selection of an airport manager. Laurel Sauer has details.
Boca Raton's small community airport seems to be headed on a steadier track now. The airport has a new manager. He's retired Air Force Colonel Alan Brunstrom. He was formally introduced today at an organizational meeting of the newly formed Airport Advisory Board. The 7-member board under State Board of Regents direction will work along with Brunstrom to set policy and provide direction for the small airport used mainly for light plane traffic.
People can better understand the problems that we're facing in the community by being a part of it and looking at those problems. I think a lot of the problem in the past has been really miscommunications, and I see the advisory group and the appointment of a manager as a method of improving communications with the people in this area.
The airport has recently been embroiled in a legal controversy between the city and the State Board of Regents over control of the airport. The state would clearly like to put that dispute permanently aside. Perhaps one significant question was at least partially settled today. With the Board of Regents organizing an advisory board and selecting an airport manager, it looks like the board is planning on maintaining its ownership of the airport here for some time to come. Laurel Sauer, Channel 12 News in Boca Raton.
The changing role of the American family in today's society was the topic for discussion at a special seminar in Palm Beach. We'll have details when Channel 12 News continues.
Now, interest on checking.
So we already heard from Patty. It's going to be another very cold night. She's all set now with the detailed forecast. Patty?
Thank you, Eleanor. Well, you know, we get a national summary reporting on the entire nation's weather, and most of the national summary today was concerned with the cold temperatures in Florida. First, we're going to take a look at our current temperature. It's dropped 3 degrees since I last reported to you just about 10 minutes earlier. It's 55 degrees right now. Humidity, 45%. Winds out of the north at 11 miles an hour. Barometric pressure 30.19 and holding steady, and the surf temperature is still a very cold 59 degrees. And last night we showed you the low of 32, the high today of 61. No rainfall, and even the air quality index was up. It was 58 in the moderate range, so very unlike our weather in this area. Now, the reason we're getting these cold temperatures, as I said, is the Gulf Stream, or rather the jet stream, is so far south, and the cold temperatures are spreading from the northwest, where the cold fronts are originating out of the plains, to the southeast, and it looks like we'll have a continuation of this cold weather at least for another 24 hours, and then a little bit of moderation. Last night, the entire eastern United States was very cold. 24 record lows were set, and out of those 24, 11 were set in Florida. Almost every reporting station in Florida reported a record low. The nation's low up in Glens Falls, New York, was 27 degrees below zero, so it's colder than here. And the nation's high, 72 degrees in Palm Springs, California. And here are some afternoon temperatures from around the country. Well, temperatures are dropping rapidly. We know what we had last night, and that's just about what you can expect to find tonight. We expect freeze and extensive frost over South Florida. In the inland sections, winds will be light and variable. Lows in the mid-30s along the coast, 25 to 30 in the interior sections. And as I said, it'll be below 32 for around 6 hours tonight. And for tomorrow's forecast, clear and warming up with highs in the low 60s, variable winds at 10 miles an hour. And it's still kind of rough in the seas, but they will be subsiding. And so we will have about another day of this, then slowly back to normal.
Okay, Patty, thank you. Now, today's economic and social pressures are placing unusual amounts of stress on current family relationships. As a result, social workers and family therapists are working harder to keep up with new techniques to handle stress. In a special 3-day workshop for trained specialists, renowned therapist Arthur Mandelbaum says the technological advances in today's society make it difficult for the family to catch up.
There's more struggle between the generations. There's more isolation of the old, elderly people, and there is more exploration of different lifestyles to keep up with the changing society, such as people living together without benefit of marriage.
The expert therapist will be conducting a seminar especially for families this Thursday at the Colonnade Hotel on Singer Island. A fee charged for the workshop will go toward the Menninger Foundation. Well, Jim Gallagher has an interview with former Yankee manager Dick Howser next, and a look at some cold weather fishermen.
If you knew Tilly.
Hello, Mrs. Moore.
52 anglers began casting their luck this morning as the annual Masters fishing tournament got underway. Fishermen will spend the next 4 to 5 days on the prowl for sail and white marlin. The men receive points for the number of fish caught in the shortest period of time. The fish are not landed, but rather tagged for research purposes and then set free. The leaders at the end of the day are from Caracas, Venezuela, and Sydney, Australia, capturing a total of 4 sailfish, and that is a good day's work. And now, here's Jim. You've had a good day's work.
Yes, I have. Thinking about Billy Sims, who today was named United Press NFC Rookie of the Year, running for better than 1,300 yards and topping the league in scores with 16. And the Washington Redskins finally admitted the worst-kept secret in sports. Joe Gibbs, an assistant with San Diego, was named the Skins head coach today. The one-time Florida State assistant had this to say to the media.
I must have 40 or 50 different things I asked Mr. Cook. And first of all, I wanted to see his chain of command, how he thought things should be run. And when I was through with all those, he was most gracious in every aspect, and in several of those he went farther than what I would have even thought that he would have, and I feel great about it after that conversation and visit with him. And of course, already knowing Bobby, I just really feel like this is where I belong, and I'm very happy to be here.
Former New York Yankee manager Dick Howser was a visitor here last week, and I did a 2-part interview with him. Howser played at Palm Beach High and Florida State before embarking on a professional career, which saw him in playing, coaching, and managerial roles. He's now the Yankee scout for the Southeast and South America, and I asked him if he thought he'd ever return to managing in the major leagues.
That's interesting. I don't know. I'm going to take a hard look at what I'm doing right now and see how things develop. But you know, once you've managed, I think, and you feel pretty good about what you've done, I think there's always back in your mind somewhere that you'd like to manage again. But I am satisfied with my current position. I do enjoy being with the Yankee organization, and we'll just have to wait and see on that, Jim.
What were your feelings about the way that this past season worked out?
Well, you know, when I look back, I smile about last season. We won 103 ball games, and I enjoyed the ball players, and of course New York City. And we didn't win. Kansas City beat us out. But overall, I was proud of the way the players played, and I just enjoyed the 80 ball season.
Would you ever consider a return to college coaching?
I kind of doubt it, Jim. The only place I wanted to coach was at Florida State, and I gave that job up after a year, and Mike Martin's there now. I like college baseball, but Florida State was the only job I really wanted, and that's occupied right now. I think now that I've made a decision, I think I'll just stay in professional baseball.
That's Dick Howser, and we'll have part 2 of that interview tomorrow night. Eleanor, that's it for sports.
Okay, Jim, still ahead, we have another cold night, and we're going to have some bundling suggestions for your pretty plants so they won't get frostbitten. People aren't the only things affected by this cold weather, so are your plants, and if you're not careful, they can be severely damaged. Darnice Davis tells you how you can protect your plants.
Due to the cold weather, it has caused a lot of our outdoor plants to get damaged. This rosebush, for instance, the unusual cold snap caused the leaves to turn dark in color and to wilt in shape. This tropical plant called the cassava is brought in from South America. It's used as a source of food, but as you can see, the cold weather has damaged the leaves, which will probably cause the plant to defoliate. Cold weather has caused the moisture in the cell of this plant to freeze, the copper leaf plant. When the cell freezes, it ruptures the cell wall, which allows the moisture to leak out, giving the leaf a water-soaked appearance. There are several steps you can take to protect your outdoor plants against the cold weather.
Just simply covering them up with newspapers, cardboard box, saran, plastic, blankets, sheets, anything like that. And the movable ones, bring them in under the roof or into the garage or into the family room, somewhere like that.
Ross says if your outdoor plants look like they are dying, do not cut them back. The best thing to do is wait until you see the new growth. Darnice Davis, Channel 12 News, West Palm Beach.
And that's our early report. ABC News up next. John Matthews will be here at 11 with a complete update of the news. I'm Eleanor Schano-White for the entire Channel 12 News team. Thanks for joining us. Keep warm and have a nice evening.
When you see news happening, tell 12 at 848-7211. And for all the news, watch John Matthews tonight at 11 here on Channel 12.
The buckets